Hello, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, very good. Meeting will start soon. I'm just waiting for another 4 minutes to see if we get some more people to join. If not, we'll just crack on with the meeting, okay? So please bear with me. By the way, welcome to you all. Spark, Nana, and Kwesi, welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Okay, hello, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. And please, if at any time at all you can't hear me, let me know so that I can readjust my internet. Okay, so I'd like to welcome everybody for coming to this talk about how to become a nurse in the UK. This talk was originally for students. So I was asked by a lot of students who'd come to Aberdeen with regards to how nursing students who's come to do masters with regards to how they can basically become nurses in the UK. And they because there were quite a lot of students, I decided, okay, instead of giving the same information more than once and repeating myself over 20 times, I'd just put together a program and I'll disseminate the information this way. So for anyone who does not know me, my name is Akusia. I'm a doctor at the Aberdeen Royal Infirmary, and I basically trained as a doctor in the UK in Aberdeen. I also work with a company called Planariamed, who deal with recruitment of medical students and recruitment of nurses into the UK. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about essentially. If you have any questions, please pop it in the message chat as well, but I'll also take questions and answers at the end of the program. So I'm just going to get started and share my screen and talk about how to get into nursing. So this talk is going to be for two kinds of people. They're going to be for people who are already in the UK, who want to, so let's say master's students in the UK who want to then register with the nursing NMC and nursing council, and also for students who are in Ghana or overseas who want to be able to register with the nursing council to come into the UK. So I'm going to start off. Yes, this applies to midwives too. So the registration, the NMC registration, you can do a nursing registration and a midwifery registration, but it's all under the same council. So it applies to all of midwives as well. So you're welcome to stay. Okay, right, so sharing my screen. And so I hope you guys can all see the brochure on my screen, and this talks about the nursing application. So if you are the people that this that are eligible to apply for the NMC are people who have already completed a nursing degree or diploma. So if you don't have a nursing degree or a nursing diploma, if you're not qualified to be a nurse, then you cannot register for the NMC, and that's a whole different talk in itself. So if you're here and you're a nursing student, or you've not fully qualified as a nurse, then well, you're welcome to stay, but this will not be relevant to you, and we can talk about that another time. Okay, right. So before you apply for the NMC, what the registration in the UK, you need to do is you need to do some identity checks. Now, if you're applying through, again, you don't have to apply through the agency. Obviously, because I work for the agency, so I'm speaking for the agency. So I'll talk about what you have to do if you want to go through the agency, and if you don't want to go to the agency, you can do both. But before you apply for the NMC, you need some checks, okay? And you need to, the NMC, UK NMC would usually check your identity, your degree, your registration with your own NMC in your own country, your health declaration, your character reference, and your English proficiency. So I'll go through all of these one by one. Now, if you do it with the agency, before you even get to the NMC stage, we check these things. So we've got a team who will be going through checking your passport certificates, health declaration, your character reference, and English proficiency, so that even before you've gotten to the NMC stage, we've made sure that all your documents are okay, and that when you apply, then you know that, okay, I'm actually applying and I know that I've got a higher percentage of actually meeting the eligibility criteria. So your passport is just your identity. They want something to check that, okay, this is Akosua Fosusedu, this is who she says she is. Okay. Hold a minute. I'm also admitting people in the waiting room, so I'm just giving me a moment. Yeah, so that's just for your passport. Your certificates, as I was saying, you have to be a registered nurse. You have to have sat exams in your own country and passed your nursing exam in your own country for you to. So you need a certificate to proof of your diploma or proof of your degree. So you definitely need that. Also, there are two different types of pathways. So you can either already be registered with the NMC in your own country. So I know some people who are actually already nurses and have been working in Ghana as nurses for a very, very long time. And that sort of increases your chances of getting in, because it's like, okay, this person is definitely a nurse. They've been working, they've got 5 years, 10 years under their belt as a nurse, and they can join the NMC. But you don't have to be registered with the NMC in your own country. So you can be fresh off the books, fresh out of university with nurse and have no registration. There's a different registration route that you will go through, but it's also possible to do that. Okay, so you either add your diploma with your home country's NMC registration, or just your diploma, and that's a different route, so I'll talk about that. Health declaration is just a note from your medical doctor to say that you're healthy. For those in the UK, you can literally just go to your GP surgery, get a health checkup, just to say that, I'm okay. For the students who are already here doing a master's. For those in Ghana, you just need to go to whichever doctor, get a letter to say, okay, they've done a health checkup and they're okay health-wise. That doesn't mean that if you've got chronic conditions that you cannot be a nurse. If you're struggling with something like asthma, or if you've got sickle cell, you can still be a nurse. It's just that a doctor has to sort of be signed off by a doctor to say, okay, this person has got this chronic condition which they are managing, and they're managing it okay. Like, you're actually not struggling with, you're able to work with your chronic condition. A lot of people think if you've got things like HIV that you cannot be a medical professional. To an extent, some some professionals won't let you. So if, for example, if you wanted to be like a scrub nurse, as a theatre nurse or a surgeon, then sometimes that can be a little bit tricky, but it's not impossible. And you can actually still be a healthcare professional with HIV. You just have to go under rigorous sort of rigorous examination. But again, if you've got any chronic conditions, if you want to talk to me about that privately as well, we can do that later on. But it's just a health declaration to say that, yes, you're fine, you're able to work with whatever health conditions you have, or that you don't have any health conditions that you're managing. Your character reference is usually in the UK, we call it a DBS form, or it's a police check. So it's to check that you are not a criminal, okay? And again, we can get into so many, gray areas with this, but if you've ever been reprimanded by police, or even if you've ever gone to jail for something like, if it's like a road traffic accident, or as something like that, then usually they don't care, even though you've had a criminal record for like let's say an accident. It usually wouldn't be a problem. Things that they worry about is things like abuse. So are you a pedophile? Have you ever had like a rape charge? Have you ever had a murder charge? These are the things that they take a little bit seriously. So again, if you've had problem with the police in the past and it's not something level of seriousness, then it's okay. But that's why the agency is here. So this is the difference between doing something through the agency and doing it by yourself. You can definitely do this by yourself, okay? And you'll be guided by me. I'm more than happy to guide you through that. But the reason why the agency is good is because sometimes some people have some discrepancies that they're not sure about, and you don't know, oh, am I going to be eligible for this or will I not be? And you really need somebody to go through your documents to check all that with you, and that's what the agency do, okay? And then the last thing is the English proficiency. And I love this part because it really gets on my nerves. The fact that Ghana is I'm speaking for Ghana now, so I'm not talking for any other country. So if there are any people from any other countries here, I apologize. But Ghana is an English-speaking country. Literally, our president addresses the nation in English. When you go to the hospital, you speak English. You cannot even survive in Ghana or get a good job in Ghana without being able to speak English and write English. Yet, when you're applying for a job in the UK, you're asked to prove your English proficiency. Drives me nuts, but it is what it is. And you have to prove your English proficiency. So what we've done in the past is we've actually, with the agency side, we've actually applied for NMC registration for people and just got them to prove that they have English proficiency. So if you went to university, if you did your diploma or your nursing degree in somewhere like in Accra, where you'll be met with more English than any other dialect, then we can usually get the university to write you an email, a letter. Or if you're working in a hospital, like something like Kolebu or somewhere central, then we can get your nursing supervisor or the NMC to even write a letter to say that this person is proficient in English, that they speak English to the patients, they work in English, and they are basically English proficient because they've been working with English for the past 10, 15, 5 years. If you worked somewhere like Kumasi, or you trained in somewhere like Kumasi or Tamale, it's a little bit more difficult because I know that even though you probably spoke English, it is known that in Kumasi, people usually use the Tree dialect a lot more than they use the English. Somewhere like Tamale, I know actually in Tamale they use more English, but again, it's just a lot difficult. But we can still, depending on what college you went to or what university you went to, we can still see if we can get you a letter of English proficiency. So some people don't actually need to take the IELTS. We can just get them a letter to prove the English proficiency. However, if the English proficiency doesn't work, if the letter does not work, then often you need to write the IELTS test. And that is a bit of an annoying test, but you can ask me questions about that, but it just is what it is. If you're in the UK and you're studying in the UK, you probably would have had to write the IELTS at some point. But that's just how you prove your English proficiency. So that's what it is. You can ask me questions on that later on, but we try our best to make you not write the English proficiency. For those of you who are in the UK, who are already in the UK, who are not in Ghana, you don't have to write the English proficiency test, to the best of my knowledge. So for a lot of people that we've done this for, if you're already in the UK and you're studying your master's, you can actually get to your university lecturer in the UK to write a letter to say this person is proficient in English. For the past year, they've been studying master's in public health, and they have studied this course in English and they've been fine with the assessment. And that is your proof to say that you're proficient in the English language. So that is what it is. Okay, so this is the, if you look on the here on the flyer, this is where it says inclusive, and that is what will be inclusive in your package if you decide to apply with the agency. Again, if you don't decide to apply with the agency, you can do this by yourself, but this is what you will have to prove by yourself. And there is a fee for all of this, not for the agency, but just generally when you're applying for NMC registration, the eligibility checks cost, I think it's £140, which you will have to pay to the NMC in the UK, because they check all these things. And if you don't meet the criteria, I think you get some of that money back, but some of that money you don't get back. Again, this is some of the plus sides to do with the agency, because imagine if you, let's say you send the wrong certificate for your course and you've paid £140 and you get some of your money back, but you don't make it, so you don't get all your money back. Whereas with the agency, we check all these things to make sure that actually, no, they're all okay, which means that when we're sending it, we're almost 99.9% sure that you will pass your eligibility checks, which puts you a lower risk of losing all your money. So that's the pros and cons. The exclusive parts are other things that the agency help with in terms of your the NMC registration. So after you've gone through the processes, after you've gone through all those identity checks, when you've passed those identity checks, now this is where it gets really interesting, because then you actually have to do exams for the Nursing Council. And there's a CBT test, which is computer-based test, and that will just test your theoretical knowledge on how nursing works, okay, and how to be a nurse. And again, if you've been working as a nurse for more than 5 years, 10 years, then that knowledge should already be there, shouldn't be a problem. If you're brand new out of university just doing nursing, then it might be a little bit tricky. But again, if you've passed your nursing exams in your home country, there's no way why you shouldn't be able to pass these CBT exams here in the UK. Once you've passed the CBT, you will then go on to do the OSCE exams. And I don't know if you know what OSCE means, but basically it's just the practical exams where you will actually have, so we have people called patient partners. So you have people who act as patients, and then you as the nurse will have to sort of cater to their care, and they'll watch you. So you'll have stations, and again, it's usually about, let's say 10 to 15 stations. You spend 5 minutes at each station. They'll give you a scenario. It'll be like something like somebody's coming with a diabetic foot ulcer. How would you change their wound? So you go into and then the bell will go off. You go into the bay. You will change either a mannequin's foot or an actual actor's foot. You change it, and then they will mark you on how well you're doing. And then basically you'll either pass or you'll fail the OSCEs. If you pass the CBT and the OSCEs, that's it, you're in. You get your, you've got your you get your GMC, your NMC registration, and you'll basically be able to work in the UK. If you don't pass the exams, you will have an opportunity to resit the exams. But again, I'll go through all the prices for this. And these are not agency prices, these are NMC prices. So whether you do it through the agent or you do not do it through the agent, these are costs that you will bear, okay? Because this is what the UK charges for people to register as a nurse. And I'll go through the cost later on. So that's that. If you do with the agency, we'll help you with the exam prep. We will guide you on what to revise, how to prep for the OSCEs, how to prep for the CBT exams. That's the exclusive. So these are ad hoc services. So they will come at an extra cost with the agency, but it's not a terrible cost. It's affordable, and I think it's worth it for the profession that you plan to go in, because nursing in the UK is very lucrative. It's very good. Unlike medicine, you can actually have a life, and you don't, you can choose what kind of hours to work. Some people are here actually who even work bank hours, so you can decide to work only on weekends, or some people would decide I will work Monday to Friday, and that's if you do the bank shifts. If you do a regular shift, you'll be put on a rota. You'll probably have a bad shift like a medical, but the pay is very, very good. And actually, even if you were to pay, let's say £10,000 for this, you won't. It's not that pricey. It's probably 1/10 of that. But even if you were to pay £10,000 for this process, it's worth it, because I know that people pay £10,000 to do the sham marriages, and even more than that to get married, to get stay in the UK and the US and things, and they pay it back month by month. Whereas with this, you're guaranteed a job, and you're guaranteed you'll be able to pay back. So I think it really, really is a good profession to get into. And if you can, you should definitely try and do it. Okay. So again, back to this. So once you've finished with the exam prep, once you've passed your, well, actually, once you've been called for the exam, you also need to prep for traveling. So you do the CBT, which is a computer-based test. You do that online because it's computer-based. So if you're already in the UK, then you're at a better stead. If you're not in the UK and you're elsewhere in Ghana, in Ukraine, wherever you are, then if you pass that computer-based test, you'll have to come to the UK for your OSCEs. Now, again, the agency can help with this. So you can see that it's got travel and visa here. So you can help where you basically got, we can help with that, where we can basically, depending on where you're going to do the OSCEs, we can help with booking a visa, booking a flight. planariamed has also got links with some airlines where we're able to get good deals for students and applicants coming into the UK. So we'll be able to help with that if you wanted us to add that onto your service. So that's that. Once you've done your OSCEs, you've come to the UK on your visa, you've passed your OSCEs, and you now want to come and you've now registered with the NMC, you actually then have to apply for a nursing job. So what you have to remember is that the NMC application process is only to get you registered with the Nursing and Midwifery Council in the UK. However, just because you're registered with an NMC doesn't mean that you automatically get a job. You have to apply for jobs. So again, you would just have to, it's just like applying for any job. You just go online, apply for a nursing job. If you wanted to do this on your own as well, you could definitely do that. There are loads of online, online search engines where you can apply for a nursing job. You went to the agency to help you with that. We could help with job applications. Once you've got your job, we help with accommodation, orientation, city tours, so many much more scope that the agency can help with. But again, if you don't need all of that and you think you're fine by yourself, by all means, you'll be guided through this process. I'm here, I can guide you through the process, but I certainly would, it'll be helpful to have the agency help if that was something that you needed. So I've been talking for a long time, so I think I'm going to stop now. I talked about the prices, didn't I? So I'm just going to go through. Oh, and then one last thing, I've got the ambassadors bit down here. So when you've been through, if you work with planariamed and you go through the whole process and you get to the end, you actually have an opportunity with working with us as well. So we, most of our students and most of our clients who work with us, they always come back and they are ambassadors for us. So when you're an ambassador, all that means is that you spread the good word to people. Hey, actually, I'm a nurse now in the UK. planariamed helped me become a nurse. So yeah, why don't you join us with planariamed, and you get paid for doing that. So for every student that you recruit, or for every nursing member that you recruit who successfully passed through the process, you get 10% of whatever they pay to the agency. So that's also a side gig that you can definitely hop on. There are always opportunities to work with planariamed. We have some of our old nurses who actually passed their CBTs and their OSCEs who will be teaching the CBT and OSCE classes if anybody needs help with that. So again, if you were to go through this process and you were to be successful and you wanted to become a tutor for that, you could definitely do that and get paid on the side for that as well. So there's plenty of opportunities with planariamed. So if anybody, again, wants to know more about that, just let me know. I can see that there are a few questions in the background, but I'm just going to open up a document that I have, which has the rough prices, and I'll just quickly go over the prices as well in terms of the NMC. So I spoke about the checking the eligibility criteria was £140. Now these are all NMC prices without the agency price. Okay, so that's it. It was £140. The OSCE is £794. To do a full reset of the OSCE will cost another £794. But if you only need to do a partial reset, so let's say you passed 10, if there are 15 stations and you didn't pass, you passed 11 stations and you only didn't pass 4 stations, you have an opportunity to just pay for the 4 stations, and that's the partial reset, and that will be £397. Fingers crossed, touch wood, you won't need to reset at all, but if you need to, then there's extra cost to that. And then once the whole process is done, once you've passed all your exams, the registration fee to the NMC is £153. So the total of that came to £1,500, and then Planaria Agency takes 10% of that. So altogether, your cost will be £1,420, and that's how much it will cost to do it with the agency. Without the agency, it's just minus £250 of that, and then that's how much it will be. Okay, so that's that. I will take questions now. Hold on, I'm just looking. If you've got questions, please put your hand up. And I'm just going to read through the chats as well and just have a look at what people have been commenting and saying. So someone's asking about a certificate from UK NRIC. Can you put the full, because I'm not sure what that is. So I don't know if you can just put the full, what is NARIC? Thank you. Yeah, so if you're an optician nurse, so if someone's asking if you're an optician nurse, would you be able to be registered? So again, we'll have to look into what diploma exactly that you have or what certificate that you have. But once you're a nurse, so if you've gone through, so I don't know how it works in Ghana or anywhere else, but usually before you become an optician, like you branch into a specialty of nursing, you would have had to do the core nursing. So usually you'd have to do general nursing and then branch into something like optician or theater, or so in my head, that's how the process is. If that's not what the process is, then we can definitely look at this, your diploma or your certificate, have a look and see, will this be eligible? But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to continue as an optician nurse if that's what, if that's a certificate that you have. Okay, I've got Nana Adakabre, I'm just going to, if you unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. Nice presentation from you, Doug. I've really enjoyed most of it, if not. A quick one. I might have missed out on the initial or the introduction bit where you talked about the English proficiency. So I have a friend back here in Ghana, and she went through the normal nursing training college stuff. What kind of English proficiency do you guys require? If you can help me with that.
Yeah, hey, so we spoke about that, but just for anybody who missed that, I'll go over that again. So usually the English proficiency is just to prove that you can communicate in basic English. As a nurse, you spend most of your time with patients. And if you can't communicate in the language, then you obviously can't do your job efficiently. So the English proficiency is just to prove that you know the very basics of English and you can communicate. I know that a lot of Ghanaians can do that because, as I was saying previously, in Ghana, we communicate via English, mostly via English. So what the agency tries to do is we look at where you've come from, we look at where you've done your diploma, we look at, we actually get numbers. So we actually go through the Ghana census. It's very, it's very elaborate what we do. We go through the Ghana census, check how much English is spoken in the area. And, if it's enough, if it's above 50%, then we usually get your university or the hospital that you work in to write a letter to say, actually, according to the Ghana census, this number of people speak English in this area. And according to experience, this gentleman has been speaking English with his patients, and he's proficient in English, and that is the English proficiency that we would usually accept that. But the NMC, they decide whether or not they can take that. Sometimes they accept it, sometimes they don't, depending on how they feel about it. But again, going through the agency, this is one of the good things. Sometimes when they don't accept that, we're able to fight back and say, you need to give us a reason, a good reason why you don't accept that. And it's almost like, so it becomes not a fight, but a back and forth between the agency and the NMC. And most often we're able to get them to accept the English proficiency. If you don't go down that route, then you have to write the IELTS. So obviously if you have the IELTS, then you're guaranteed, and you pass the IELTS, then you're guaranteed that your English proficiency will be accepted because you've done what the NMC want. But we usually don't see why, especially if you've been working in somewhere like Accra, why you need to write the IELTS. So we're very passionate about that, and we try our best. If people do, there are some instances where people definitely need to write the IELTS, and we will say to them, you need to write the IELTS. But if we look at their diploma, we look at their background, and we think you don't need to write the IELTS, then most often we say to them, you don't need the IELTS. This is how we'll do it. So it depends what route you're going. I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
So UK, an organization in the UK that uses your transcripts to compare the English proficiency in the UK. Okay. So I don't actually have any knowledge of this, so I might have to look into this later. But so if the UKNARIC, the UK NARIC, oh, UK NARIC, yes, I know them. Okay, when I said that out loud, it made sense in my head. Okay, fine. Yes, the UK NARIC is usually, that's okay as well, because that proves proficiency. Obviously, that goes through your, again, the NMC don't officially accept the UK NARIC. And if you go to the NMC website, they write that they only accept the IELTS for English proficiency, or if you're able to prove through other means. So if UK NARIC has sort of, if you've got UK NARIC and they've ticked off that you're able, you know, your English proficiency is okay, there's no need, no reason why you couldn't be able to use that. So yeah, I think that should be okay. Sorry, I'm just reading. Again, if you have questions, put your hands up. I'm just reading messages here. Someone said they can't hear me talk. I hope you can hear me, Max. Please, good evening. Will the CBT, yes, will the CBT be written in the UK? No, I've been through that already. The CBT is a computer-based test, so it's just written wherever you are. It's through a computer, so it's online. On, if you know, if you don't have good internet, then you probably have to go to somewhere like a what do they call these things? Internet cafe. Yeah, it's been a while. I've used that, but you have to go to somewhere like that. But no, the CBT is not in the UK. Once you've written, so once you've passed your eligibility criteria, the NMC would usually send you a letter to say that you've passed all the eligibility checks and you're eligible to sit this computer-based test. They'll send you a link and you book on it to a date where you can do it, and then you'll do the CBT test. Once you've completed the CBT test, and you've passed the CBT test, then they'll send you an invite to come to the UK to come and write the OSCEs. I know that there are centers elsewhere around the world. They might probably have a center in Ghana who do the OSCEs, but I think most often you have to come to the UK to write the OSCEs. So it's only the OSCEs where you actually have to come to the UK and write the OSCEs. So Elom Jerry is asking about, do you have any offer for the senior carer program? Now, again, I don't think I quite understand. So if you can come and ask questions. So as you might know, again, my background is that I'm a medical doctor and I work in the hospital. I deal with the Planaria agency, I sort of deal with the eligibility criteria bit. So there are parts of these that I might not understand so well. So if you don't mind explaining further, what do you mean by the senior carer program? I don't quite understand. Someone said, how do you contact the agency? So I'll actually put the details in here. If you've got my number on WhatsApp, you can message me as well and I can give you details to the agency. If not, I've got an email, a website, and an Instagram where you can contact the agency. Again, I'm an agent for the agency, so if you've got my number, you can just contact me. But if you think we're too familiar, as long as you want to work with somebody else, that's fine. We can also get you a number for another agent from the agency, and you can work with them. I'll put the details in the chat as well, so that you have that. Someone says, please, I want to know if a registered midwife can work as a nurse in the UK. What process do you go through? So I don't know if you were here for all the talk, but the midwifery process is exactly the same as the nursing process. So the NMC is the Nursing and Midwifery Council. So if you're a midwife and you're a registered midwife in your home country, you've got your midwife certificate and you've got your NMC certificate in your home country, is the exact same process. There's nothing that changes. The only thing is, I think when you're applying on the NMC website, you have to choose whether you're applying for nursing or midwifery, but it's exactly the same process. So if you've heard all my talk, then it's exactly the same. Someone says, please, are Ghanaian trained BSc physician assistants recognized here in the UK? Yes, so yes, they are. There's also a process. So the difficulty with physician associates is that there is not, unlike we have the GMC for the General Medical Council, we have NMC for the Nursing and Midwifery Council. There is no regulatory body for physician associates, and this is what makes it a little bit more difficult. I've had several people ask me this question over and over again, and there's certainly scope. You can work in the UK as a physician associate. That's that. There is no sort of steps to getting registered as a physician associate because there's no regulatory body. So it works on an individual to individual basis. And sometimes you just have to apply for the job. If you find a physician associate job, you just have to apply for it. And depending on where you're going, they have their own checks that they will do, but there's no sort of centralized system like this where you have to go through this and that. So again, if you want to know more about that, just message me. We can definitely discuss that in a little bit more further. Someone says, please, what help can someone who is having BSc in physician assistantship and diploma in nursing, as well as having an IELTS band of 6.5 get from your agency? Okay, so as I say, if you want to apply to work as a nurse or as a physician associate, or whatever that you want to apply to work for, you can do it by yourself or you can do it through the agency. Now, the agency just makes sure that the process is simpler and easier. So all of this hassle of having to check that your documents are matching up, having to make sure that you've got the right English proficiency, you've got the right character reference, doctor references. We just tell you what we need from you, you give it to us, and we do the application on your behalf. So it's almost like we take away the stress from you. So for example, if you're a master's student at the moment and you've got assignments you need to write, you really don't want to be stressing about deadlines for having to give in your character reference or your police reference and things like that. This is where the agency comes in. But you can certainly do it by yourself. There's no, again, just because I work as an agent for the agency doesn't mean that I'm pushing the agency onto you. It's a choice. You can decide to do it with or without the agency. It's absolutely and entirely up to you. Someone says, will there be any CBT material to learn before the exam? Thank you. Yes, so there's a CBT. Oh, I think we're already working with this gentleman. It was a private message, but yes, talk to me later. We will discuss that. But again, because you're already registered with the agency, yes, we will help you with the CBT. We've got material that we can help, and we've got OSCE materials that we can talk about as well. Yeah, the senior care program, I said I didn't quite understand that, Elom. So if you don't mind explaining further what you mean by the senior care program. Right, I don't see any other hands up. So if anybody has any other questions that they'd like to ask, please either write it in the message section or you can just put your hands up and I can call you out. There's only one last question from Elom, which I can't seem to understand about a senior care program. And I honestly cannot, for the life of me, even think of what it means. Yeah, Hope, I understand what the care program is, but what is the senior care program? And what, I mean, it sounds as though, so carers in the UK and nurses in the UK are very different. Carers are not qualified. So you don't need to be a qualified nurse to be a carer. You don't need to be a trained. There's a difference from a social worker to a carer. So I don't quite understand, because if you want to do a carer's job, then you don't actually need to really have any registration or be qualified. A senior carer, yeah, fair enough, you might need to do some courses, but again, it's not, you would have had to be working as a carer for some time. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by the senior carers program. I've never come across it, so I'll need a lot more. So I'm sorry if I'm not really answering your question too well. Someone had their hand up, but it's gone down now. Someone says, please, what is the total bill of your agency is doing the process for a nurse in Ghana? The process is the same. It doesn't matter where you are. As I said, the agency takes 10% of what the total cost is. So the total cost with the agency is 1,420. Without the agency, you just need to take away 250 from that, because the agency charges 250 for all the eligibility checks. Now that was the inclusive. So again, if I share my screen here, that was for all of this, the inclusive section. For any part of this section, the exclusive section, those are ad hoc services. And the ad hoc services, they work on an individual basis. So for example, the travel and visa, I couldn't give you a number for that right now, because a nurse who's planning to come to the UK in Christmas compared to a nurse who's coming to the UK in April, that cost will be very, very different. Because if you're wanting us to help you with the visa, cost will stay the same. But if you're wanting us to help with things like flights, then obviously depending on the season which you're coming in, Christmas is much more expensive than Easter. So that price will be very, very different. Now the city tour, that depends on what city you're in. If you're in Manchester compared to if you're in London, if you're in Aberdeen compared to if you're in London. So the only cost, the 250 that I spoke about, was inclusive with this, but the exclusives are difficult. And again, even with the exam prep, so your exams are usually, the exam prep is tailored to you. Some people just need material and they'll say, can you give me past paper questions for the CBT? And we'll be able to provide that. And that would be at a less cost. But if you're wanting one-on-one tutorship, someone to actually go through the questions with you, then obviously it will cost much more. So depending on what you're looking for is the cost. But if, just the just for the initial part is 250. Someone said to elaborate on physician assistant going as per the agency fee. So the agency at the moment does not have anything for physician associates. As I say, it's an individual. We don't have any standard like we do for nurses or medics, because the physician associate don't have any regulatory body. So it depends on where you want to work as a physician associate and how difficult the process is. For some people, the process is very simple. The agency will sit down with you, have a look at the process and say, okay, you have this diploma, you have this number of work experience, we've applied for this job, let's wait and see. We cannot give a definite number on that. So again, if you're a physician associate and you want some further input, you'll have to contact the agency and they will have to deal with you on an individual basis. Just because physician associate program is not centralized, we cannot have a centralized system like we do for the nurses. So I apologize for that. Please, can you brief us on the preceptorship midwifery for overseas midwives? I think that there must be a misunderstanding that the midwifery and the nursing corps is exactly the same. I don't know what else I can say about that. If you're a nurse or a midwife, the process is exactly the same. If you have exact questions that you want to know about the process, fair enough, but there's nothing different from what I've already said. Which degree allows you to apply as a nurse in the UK? So it says, please, after university, which degree allows you to apply as a nurse in the UK? So again, in most people that I've worked with, certainly from Ghana, have a diploma from some sort of college or university, but a nursing diploma. In the UK, you can do nursing as a degree. And in other countries, I know you can do nursing as a degree. So you just need a diploma which says that you're qualified as a nurse, or a degree which says you're qualified as a nurse. It's the same as Ghana. So before you, or any other country, before you register with the nursing council in Ghana, what do you need to register with the nursing council in Ghana? You need a degree or a diploma from a nursing training, and that's exactly what you need. So if you're not already registered with the nursing council, then you just need to have those things, the same things that you need for Ghana, the same things that you need for here. Okay, I think that's sorry, iPhone, you have your hand up. You can ask your question. Someone called iPhone, yeah.
Okay, please, after graduating with the university with a degree, does your class necessarily matter to applying for the a job application of nursing in the UK?
Not necessarily. When you initially said class, I wasn't quite sure what you meant. I was thinking middle class. Like,
no, first class,
I get it. Like, it took me a while to connect the dots, so I was just laughing at myself for that. But yeah, okay. So not necessarily, no. So again, with this, it usually matters for if you're deciding to go straight into before registering with your nursing council. But for example, even if you got like a second lower, or even just a pass, and you ended up working, you've registered with the nursing council in Ghana or in Nigeria or wherever you are, and you're working as a nurse, let's say you have 5 years experience, even 2 or 3 years experience, then it usually doesn't matter. But the only way it can, again, the nursing council have never made this a problem. They haven't said that it matters, because even if, let's say, you get a pass or a second lower and you are able to pass your CBT and your OSCEs, then nobody cares, because you've passed the OSCEs and the CBT. Okay, so the class usually doesn't matter. Obviously, if the higher class that you are, the more likely it is that they will look favorably on. But honestly, I've never seen any discrimination when it comes to the class system. So again, I think I think you shouldn't have a problem with that, whether you're asking for yourself or for somebody else. But it
For
shouldn't.
myself, please.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, so please, can I right away after university apply for it to get a working experience before I can apply?
I don't, as in get overseas experience in what sense? As in you want to apply straight for the registration, or just what kind of overseas experience are you talking about?
Okay. Right after university and after service, can I apply or to go get a working experience in Ghana before I can apply?
That's why I said you can apply straight after you've got your degree or your diploma. Right after you're eligible to apply. This process is a little bit more difficult if you do it that way, just because just because the UK don't have proof that you've been a nurse before, so they usually scrutinize you a little bit more. But having said that, it's not an issue at all, because if you're the most important parts of this application, honestly speaking, is the CBT and the OSCEs. Once you've passed the CBT, once you've passed the OSCEs, you're fine. So you just work hard.
And what? Can you please come again?
Once you've passed CBT, the computer-based test, and the OSCE, which is the clinical assessment, then you're fine. That's the most important part of the whole application, is the exam.
What is being termed as licensure in Ghana?
What, the exams?
Yes. Is that exams in Ghana?
Yeah, that's the same.
Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the licensure, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So can you bypass or can you obscure the service and just come straight?
So it depends again. If you ever want to return to, you can possibly do that, possibly. But would you want to return to Ghana to work as a nurse? Well, you know,
not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, no comment. In the UK, we usually don't have the servicing and the, and as I said, when I was going through the process with you, I said that you don't need to, these are the steps that you need. I never mentioned national service. So
okay.
You care about national service.
I'll fight late.
But I think what my advice to you would be, don't put it in your head that because it can go left or right. Okay, you can either get in or you won't get in. Why don't you just continue as though you're going to do the national service while at the same time applying for the UK? If you get the UK, fingers crossed, when you get the UK, then you can just drop whatever you're doing for Ghana. But just in case, God forbid, if you don't get in and you have to, let's say you have to wait a year to reapply or whatever the case, that you don't want to have dropped everything that you're doing in Ghana and concentrated. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I want all my eggs in one basket is what I'm saying to you.
Okay. Okay, one more question, please. What's the exact amount involved in getting all this process done?
So as I was saying before, I think I
was very late. I was very, very late.
So punctuality is important for working as a nurse in the UK. Okay. As I was saying before, no, it's not a personal chat. I apologize, but it's just because nobody else has got their hands up and there are no other questions. That's why I'm just continuing with it. So if anybody else has questions or something they want to say, please make sure to interrupt, okay?
Don't worry,
yeah, it's okay. What was the question? I've even forgotten. What was your question again? Hello? Okay, I think I've lost her. So I can't actually remember what her question was. But yeah, Jeff, thank you for disrupting me.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
I think.
Oh, the cost. Sorry, I remember.
Hello.
Cost.
I think she asked about the amount. Yes.
Yeah. So the amount was that if you're just doing the initial part with the agency, then it's an extra 250 on top of everything. So the total cost with the agency for everything is 1,450. No, 1,420, I beg your pardon. I think, yes, 420. So without the agency, it's just do 1,420 minus 250. That's how much it is without the agency. The rest of it is not what the agency charges. It's just what the NMC charges. Is the fee for the actual registration, the tests, and everything else. So please, that's how much it is. Okay. The agency only charges 250. We don't charge much. Okay.
Please, is the amount in dollars or in Ghana cedis? Dollars.
It's pounds. We are coming to the UK. We deal with pounds, so it's in pounds.
Pound. Hey.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions, please?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, iPhone. I don't know your name, so I'll call you iPhone.
Okay.
If anybody else does not have any other questions, then please, I will. Okay, I think Jeff just put your hand up. Jeff.
Hi, Yakusia, how you doing? It's Kweku here actually.
Okay, hello.
So yeah, hope you're good. Well, I just wanted to find out from you if for biomedical scientists or medical lab scientists, there is also a channel to get, practicing in the UK. So that's my question.
Thank you, Kweku. So again, this question has been asked of me a lot of times, and other healthcare professionals have asked loads of questions. It's difficult to say, because these other healthcare professionals centralized system, and is much like the physician associates, is much, much difficult, honestly speaking, to get a role as a microbiologist, a biomedical scientist, biochemistry. All those are quite difficult. And the reason why is because actually a lot of UK graduates do those degrees. So essentially, sometimes it's actually really, really difficult. And there is no such thing as a biomedical sciences council who regulates these things, unlike the GMC and the NMC, as I was saying before. So these things are very much on an individual basis. So the simple answer to your question is not really. There isn't a system like this where for the biomedical sciences where you can go through and you can be guaranteed that at the end of it, you'll get a job. It's all on an individual basis. So you basically have to find the job yourself, apply for the job yourself, and just sort of cross your fingers and hope that you make the application. So I apologize for that. At the moment, that's how the system is for the biomedical sciences and other healthcare professionals. I hope that answers your question. Okay, someone's asked a really good question. They're saying, please, do you have to pay all the amount before the process, or can it be paid after you start work? So you pay it in stages. So for example, the first part, which is the eligibility criteria, the 140, you pay that before when you send your documents to the NMC, you pay the 140 with the documents. Once they have come back, you pay if you go to the agency, you pay for the agency fees and the CBT at the same time. So that would be, it's 250 plus, I think it's something like 200. So it will end up being something like roughly 450. You pay that to do the computer-based test. Once you've passed the computer-based test, then it will be left with you to do the OSCEs. Now the OSCEs is 794. That's the most expensive part of all of it. And the NMC, you cannot sit the OSCEs without paying for the exam. And the NMC say that it's that amount because they have to plan for, the medical professionals who are involved. They have to pay for the papers. They have to pay for the venue.
It's 18 hours.
Where you will take the test, I beg your pardon, excuse me. So the 794, you'll have to pay that before you write the OSCEs. Now, when you've passed the OSCEs and everything, the very final fees that you will pay are the actual NMC registration fees, which is 153. You pay that at the end. And then when you pay that, you get your NMC registration. So you pay in stages. You don't pay all the 1,450 altogether, but basically at every level you have to pay. It's almost like a passageway. You have to pay before you do the next level. I think it's 6 o'clock now, so we've been an hour on this. I'm just going to read the last batch of questions, and if anybody has any other questions, please put your hand up. This will be the last set of questions I will take. As I say, I've put all the details in the chat. What's the OSCEs is? It's someone's message, the OSCE is OSCE. So that's how it's obstructive something clinical examination, but it's called OSCE. So that's the name of the exam. It's practical. Medics do it as well. So OSCE is actually the very, very final exams for us doctors to do before we can actually be registered as doctors as well. And if you're coming from overseas as a doctor, you will need to do OSCEs as well. The only difference is the questions that we get in our OSCEs are different from the questions that you get as nurses. So for example, when I talked about the dressings, usually doctors don't do leg dressings. So if it was an OSCE situation, for example, a question for me would be, somebody comes in with diabetic foot, their foot is, they've got pus and they've got all of this, what would you do? My answer would be, okay, check for infection, check if they've got, if they need dressing changes, get vascular to check them, get podiatry involved and get the nurse to change their dressings. That's what I would say in an OSCE. But for a nurse, it will be different. It will be the same as, okay, check for infection, checking, but if you check for infection, okay, call the doctor to assess for infection, change the dressing using. And the thing about nurses is you need to know so you need to talk about the kind of dressing you'll use, adhesive, non-adhesive, all that stuff. I don't know. That's very hard. I don't know how I would do that. But that's basically kind of what the OSCEs entail. And again, as I say, everywhere is different. So the challenge I've found is that, not that if you trained in Ghana, not that you don't know, you probably know better, but every country has something that they do different. So in Ghana, you might use a non-adhesive dressing, but in the UK, you might use an adhesive dressing, etc. I don't know, I'm just saying. But these are the kind of things that, again, the agency can guide you through and say, okay, in the UK, this is how we'll do it. You don't do that. That's a no. Yes, we do this. This is the first thing you do, etc., etc. There it is, objective structural clinical examination. Thank you, Spark. Now, where was that question? I had information that some do take us. Yeah. So this is what I was saying before. Okay. So this is what I was saying before, that it might be possible for you to write the OSCEs, not just in the UK, but you might be able to write them. I know that for some tests, for example, the PLAB for the medics, you can take the PLAB in Ghana, some of them even take it in Nigeria. So there may be centers around the world where you can actually go to take the OSCEs. Most of our people have opted to come to the UK, so I'm more familiar with the UK setting. But if there's certainly, we can look into other places where you can take the OSCEs. You don't necessarily have to come to the UK to come and take that OSCE. So thank you for that, Jeff. Somebody said, can they get a copy? We'll post this video on the planariamed YouTube channel so that hopefully you can get a copy of this. Please, do you have an pay amount? No, I think they also use HCPC route. You can read much about the Healthcare Professionals Council for all the health professions, including biomedical sciences. Okay, thank you for, yes. We have another, a gentleman who's part of the agency. He's actually part of planariamed, and he's just mentioned to me that there is a Healthcare Professional Council in the agency. I deal more with the nursing side of the agency stuff. There are other people who deal with other sides of things. So actually, there might be a way for other healthcare professionals. So I think he's answering the question about the biomedical scientists, and he's saying that the biomedical scientists can go through the Healthcare Professional Council. So I'll check that with the agency and I'll get back to you as well. So actually there might be a way for you to do this, and the agency might be able to help you. So I apologize for if I said something wrong in the beginning, but I'll check that and get back to you. Okay, Kweku. I see that you've got your hand up. Yes, good to answer. Yes, midwives are part. Jeff, you can talk. Anna Kweku.
Hi, also, good evening.
Good evening.
What I want to make some clarification is I got the information that some facilities are able to pay for the OSCE for you when you pass your CBT. Are your agency able to assist in that?
No, so that's, I thought you were talking about, I apologize. I thought you were talking about the actually having facilities outside. No, so the agency does not pay for that, because so the most agencies who do that, they have the ones that I've heard of anyway, they have a system in place whereby they pay for the nurses or the applicants, and when the applicants get the job, then they in turn, they will in turn take back a percentage of whatever pay that the nurses get in order to pay back for that. We don't do that. So with our agency, once you've paid that 250, that's it. We don't charge you anymore. You don't pay us anything. You don't owe us anything. Once you start working as a nurse, you keep all your money. And that's why we don't get involved in that process. Yes, there are other agencies who do that and they'll be able to pay for you. And again, you're welcome to look at these things. And, as I say, we advise through this whole process, but it's certainly not something that Planaria Medical Agency does. Thank you for that clarification, Jeff. Yes, somebody's asked me, are midwives part? Yes, midwives are part of the process. And the very last one, hold on. What is the total duration of the process? So it takes anything from 6 months to a year. Now it depends on you, again, the applicant. So for example, we've had a gentleman we're working with, and I think he's actually on this call, and the process has taken something like 2 years. And that's just because, again, if you're in the UK, it might be much, much simple, but he's in Ghana and the process has been long because, he brought the documents. And then what happens is that he, when he brought the documents, we noticed that there wasn't the medical letter. So we said to him, you need to get medical letter. It took him like another 2 months to get a medical letter in Ghana. Then he needed to get the police report. That took him another 4 months. So, the process was really prolonged just because it took him a while to get all these documents. And that's why in the beginning, if you decide to go with the agency, I would usually, or your agent would usually send you a template and say, you need all these things. And you just need to make sure once you've received all those documents, you bring it to us. Once you've received all those documents and you send off your eligibility criteria, it takes something like a month or two for the NMC to get back to you to say you've passed all the eligibility criteria. From there on going, again, it really depends on you. Some people can book the test immediately. Some people take a while. Some people, just because you've done the eligibility criteria, doesn't mean you need to immediately pay for the test. Some people take some time to revise for the test before they sit the test. So it's all really up to you, the pace at which you want to go. So you can fast track the process by doing everything bang, 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 and get it there. Or you can take your time and, 6 months before you finish is 5 years down the line. That is entirely up to you. I think there's a limit on how long you can take from once you have passed your eligibility criteria. I think once you've passed eligibility criteria, you have about 2 years before you have to redo the eligibility criteria. So that's worth keeping in mind. But again, essentially, it's up to you how quickly you get your documents through. I can see Daniel has his hands up. I just want to quickly go through these messages first before I get you. Please, are the figures in pounds? Yes, the figures are in pounds that I'm quoting. Please, will you write the OSCEs in Ghana? I've mentioned that you can write them mostly anywhere you want. Sometimes maybe in Ghana because of the coronavirus, possibly, but the nursing council are very strict about the OSCE, so it depends. The centers entirely depend on them. Some years you can write in Ghana, some years you cannot write, and it depends on what year you're planning to write. Please, after writing the OSCEs, will there still be a need to write the IELTS? You write the IELTS right at the beginning. So the OSCEs, the difference is the IELTS is part of the eligibility criteria. You have to write that before you even get to the OSCEs. So if you didn't need to write the IELTS at the beginning, you will not need to write it anywhere through. So that's it. If you need the IELTS, you write it right at the beginning. Please, after 3 years, can I still apply? So is that after 3 years after nursing? Of course you can apply. Or do you mean after 3 years after what? You have to clarify that, Grace, please. And then if I have all these requirements, how long will it take? If you already have all the requirements, once you've sent all the eligibility criteria, it'll take about a month or two for the nursing council to get back to you to say that you're eligible. And then from then, if you decide to do everything sharp and quickly, within 6 years to a year, you should be done, because all you need to do is to write the CBT. Sometimes the thing that delays is the invitation, because you cannot write the CBT or the OSCEs without being invited. So you have to be invited for the CBT. And I know that because of the COVID, they've had a lot of backlog. So our batch this year have had quite a long wait for the CBT. So it's been about 6 months and some people are still waiting to hear back. But generally speaking, within 6 months to a year, the process really takes about that long. It shouldn't be any more than that. But again, COVID has thrown everything off the tracks. So okay, so those are the last questions I'm taking, and then I can see that Daniel's hand is up. Daniel, do you want to come through?
Yes, please. I just wanted to clarify, if you are here in the UK and then you've already passed your CBT also, and you've already initiated the process with the NMC, is it possible for your agency to take over? And how long does it take?
Yeah, so if you've already, as I say, you know, we have the ad hoc services, and this is what the good thing. So you've already started the process. So I gather that you've already done this part of things. So this bit that I've put a box around. So you've already done your identity checks and all of that, and you've sent it to the NMC. Is that correct?
Yeah, almost done with that. I think just one thing left in this whole category, but almost everything done.
Okay, so if you just wanted to continue with that, you could do that. If you wanted the agency to check the documents that you have, then you would need to obviously pay the $250 for the check-in and the processing and stuff. Or actually, I suppose it would depend as well how much we needed to check, but it could be on an individual basis. If you were just to send that through by yourself without any checks from the agency, and you wanted to get any of the exclusive parts of this, the second part of things, then that, again, as I said, that's on an individual basis. So you would have to contact the agency and sort of say to them, okay, I would like help with the exam, or I would like help with the job applications, whichever part you like help with, and then the agency can sit down with you and give you a price for that. So that's how it works. Okay. And then, okay, so Grace, I'm now going to my third year, and we'll move to my final year. And after that, can I still apply after I've started my national? Oh yeah, you can. At any point in time, you can apply. This is what I was explaining to iPhone before. So you can apply any time through national service, but certainly at any time you can apply. And then last question, please, Doctor and fellow colleagues, I will be glad if we can finish with the presentation, then questions later, because some of the questions come in are out of context of the first half of the presentation, respectively. Okay. Oh, is it great? Okay. iPhone is Grace. You've come back. All right, guys. So this, I think that's it there. If you have any more questions, our Instagram is at planariamed. So I put that on. I put a number on as well. I'll put that at planariamed. That's our Instagram. Or you can do www.instagram.com/planariamed. You can contact us through Instagram. If not, you can send a message to this one of our agents on this number. He will answer all your questions, or he will point you to an agent. If you have my number, you can message me directly, but it's probably best you message the number I've put on here, because sometimes my messages get lost. And if you're wanting some questions, it might not, So, but if you message me and you've not got an answer from me within 2 to 3 working days, then again, just message that number that I've put on the group chat, and he'll give you everything. We've also got an email, info@planariamed.com. And we've got another one, which is planariamed@gmail.com. Okay. And then I think that's it. The final thing I wanted to say to all of you is that there's also, so we also deal with nurses who want to become doctors. We help with the transition for that. So if you're interested in that, then you can also talk to planariamed. And actually, we have a few nurses who have decided they want to do medicine. So that one we usually do in collaboration with our agents in Ukraine. So Ukraine offers a 6-year medical course, but for anybody who has a biology degree, or like nursing, you can cut that down to 3 or even 2 years. Now, we have a nurse with us at the moment. So you enter the medical school in the 3rd year or in the 4th year. So if you enter in the 3rd year, then you have 3 years left. If you enter in the 4th year, you have 2 years left. And you can actually get a medical degree through that, which is recognized in the UK. And you can do that. So if any of the nurses here are thinking of, actually, I might want to do medicine, or I want to change my degree from nursing to medicine, again, we can help with that process as well. That's a whole nother process in itself. And if you're interested in that, message, again, the agency, message myself, and we'll be glad to help you through that. Thank you very much for spending time. I mean, you guys have been really interactive. You've really asked questions. Please, no one should leave here without and feel that they haven't had any of their questions answered. If there's really something that's really still on your heart that you feel that you couldn't ask because you're shy, or you felt that I didn't really explain it too well, then please, please, please message the numbers that I've put on the chat, or message us on Instagram or our email. Our agents are very, very good at getting back. and they will get back to you immediately. And again, I wish you all success in your nursing careers. I hope that most of you will end up working here with us in the UK, and that I'll be able to see some of you in the hospitals. I'll be glad to have some of you as our nurses, especially Jeff. I'm looking at you, Jeff and crew. But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure speaking to you today, and I hope that this has been helpful for you. I will post video up on our YouTube as well. So that's Planariamed Medical Agency on YouTube. If you just search that, and if you missed any part of this conversation, you can basically catch up on the YouTube channel. Okay, thank you very, very much. And I hope you have a lovely evening. I will stay back just in case anybody else have any questions, but if anybody wants to leave, you're welcome to leave. Thank you. Yeah, I see you, Max. All right.